Hi fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the St. Vincent football coach Bob Colbert's video blog right here on stvincent.edu. I'm Jim Berger, happy to be joined as always by Coach Colbert today. This past weekend, the Bearcats wrapped up the 2009 season with the third annual Green Game against Bethany College at Chuck Knoll Field. The Bearcats had a few turnovers and a few miscues en route to the 34-13 defeat. Coach, looking back on Saturday's game, I know the turnovers were a big part of it. But aside from that and a couple big plays from the Bethany passing game, I thought it was a pretty evenly played game, two fairly matched up teams. How would you summarize Saturday's game, and what do you think about the performance?
Well, the summary of the game, and one of the primary reasons we lost, is we had 5 turnovers again on offense. That's 12 turnovers in the last 2 ball games. Far, far too many. You just can't win games when you're performing at that level. Then we had some problems on defense. We gave up some good plays. We gave up a couple 3rd and longs and I think 1 or 2 4th down situations where you have to get off the field on 3rd and long. You have to get off the field on 4th down. So overall, those are if you summarize it, I could summarize it just in those couple of words. I could say that we left some points on the field offensively. We had a drop pass in the end zone. We had another pass was intercepted. It's a couple feet higher. It's another big gain for us. So we just didn't perform at the level I thought we were capable of performing. It was 2 evenly matched teams. Bethany has some really skilled guys on offense. I mean, they got some real skill there. So they had some advantage there. But again, we have to execute. We can't allow a receiver to run completely free as they did on one of the touchdown passes. That's unacceptable. So overall, it was a very disappointing performance in terms of execution of offense and defense.
Well, despite the result, the defeat, 34-13 defeat, one thing that stood out to me was the team was behind for most of the game and a disappointing season up to that point, but it really seemed like they were still playing with a lot of passion, aggressive. There was a lot of hustle. What does that say for the character of the team this late in the year, this late in the game, still giving it everything they have?
Well, that's the one thing we preached in the 2 weeks that we had to prepare for the game. We told them it was an attitude game. What is your attitude going into this game? Are you just going to play out the string, or are you going to play and give us a great effort? I thought that our effort was there. You take a look at the first 2 drives we had offensively. We're going down the field effortlessly. They're not stopping us, and yet we throw an interception on a ball that's thrown behind the receiver, and then we fumble the ball on a good hit from their defensive back. So the effort was there, but again, it comes down to execution. Yeah, they played with a lot of passion, but there was a lot of frustration that set in, particularly late in the ball game. Took a couple of unsportsman fouls that we shouldn't take, and I think that was frustration building up throughout the season. You know, you're 0-9 and you're trying to win, and things aren't working out for you, and a couple of our players lost their composure, and that's unacceptable for us. But in terms of playing hard, yeah, they're to be congratulated because they could have very easily mailed it in and said, let's get this game over with and let's get on with other things. But they didn't, and they're to be commended for that. I can't fault their effort. Again, we have problems with execution.
Well, being the season finale, it was also the final game in the careers of 9 different Bearcat players, including wide receivers Dan Blaskowski, Jeff Woodring, Phil Maschantonio, and Stephen Meyer, running back Mark Gonzalez, tight end Jake Gabelt, defensive tackle Nick Burgo, center Kelly Nepschild, and linebacker Josh Kiefer. They were basically all among the first recruits that the program had back in 2006. Tell us a little bit about the groundbreaking, the paving of the way that they contributed for the team.
Well, the first class we recruited in 2006 didn't play any ball games. They practiced all fall without any ball games. So that was those guys like Mark Gonzalez, Jeff Woodring, Jake Gabelt. Those guys, Nick Burgo, they were here when we started, and that's hard to hang in there. And the other thing about that crew that played their last ball game is that some of them didn't play much as their careers went on. Yet they always practiced with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of passion. I honestly couldn't tell whether they were starters or non-starters the way they practiced, and that speaks volumes of their character and what they felt was important. And I pointed it out to our younger players. I said, watch these guys. Remember how these guys practiced, even though they knew they weren't going to play a lot. there's a lesson to be learned from that. There's something bigger than myself. It's the team that counts, and I admire them and I respect them for that type of effort. Yeah, they laid the groundwork for us. The foundation is built. Now we have to start adding some stories, adding some floors on to the base of the building, and that's going to take some hard work. I told our team the other day, enough is enough. Enough of the miscues, enough of the fumbles, enough of the interceptions, enough of not getting off the field on third down. Enough is enough, and I think they've bought into that. But I can't say enough about those guys that were with us for 4 years. Kelly and Jacob Kiefer are finishing up because of their majors. They're not going to play their senior year. Kelly started 30 ball games for us. You know, that's hard to do as a center. Never was hurt. Practiced every play like it was his last play. Jacob was a silent warrior. He never said much. He was on our honor roll, but he did everything we asked of him. So those players, even though they're going to be missed next year, I certainly understand, you know, what they're doing, because that's the educational decision that they made. So I'm glad those guys are here, and I hope that someday that Saturday when we're playing for a PAC championship to qualify for the NCAA playoffs, that they'll be on the sidelines with us, and they'll enjoy that moment and feel like that they were part of that team.
Well, looking back on the season, I know everyone was disappointed with the final record, but I thought there were a number of bright spots. Individually, on the defensive side of the ball, David Ribeiro had a phenomenal year, led the conference in tackles for loss, led the team in tackles, almost 90. On the D-line, John Jackson was among the leaders in tackles for loss. He earned his second straight all-conference nomination. Offensively, Sheldon Logner set school records for receptions and receiving yards, and Zach Mihalko was one of the top kick returners in the conference throughout the course of the season. What do you think about those individual performances, and how would you grade the progress that those guys made over the course of the year?
Well, David Ribeiro was all that we expected him to be when we recruited him. When we recruited him and watched his film, we thought he was going to be an impact player, and he didn't disappoint us. All the coaches in the league noticed him. He plays with great passion. He's a physical player, and he's only going to get better. John Jackson had another solid year. When John Jackson's playing, his motor's running. He'll make plays sideline to sideline. There's not many defensive linemen in this league that can run like he can run and make that type of impact when he gets there. Sheldon, a solid year. He became the go-to receiver and such. We thought we could depend on Sheldon to make plays. And Zach, again, it's too bad we had too many kickoff returns that he could get work on, but he's consistent. I mean, he was out near the between the 40 and 50 yard line quite a bit this year. I haven't done the final stats yet as to where our starting point was, but Zach is again dependable, and the other player or other coaches in the league recognized him. So those are the type of individuals. Those guys had good years for us, and I'm glad that they were recognized by the rest of the PAC coaches as having good years. And next year, obviously, we'll be ready to nominate players for all conference and players of the week. So I'm looking forward to that.